Now, our client got approved for a business line of credit for $27,500. This was an approval that our client got, so they allowed us to just share this with you guys. Now with Fundbox is a line of credit, and pretty much how it works is that you make draws from it. So they'll give you a total amount of credit. So as y'all can see right here, $27,500. This is the amount currently left in your Fundbox credit. And as you make draws, obviously that available credit does decrease. And once you pay it back, it replenishes itself. So it's a revolving line of credit. That's the one great thing about business lines of credit, or even just lines of credit in general, is that once you repay it, you can use it again. Unlike with a loan, once you pay a loan off and you need more capital, you have to reapply. So that's why I'm a strong proponent when it comes to business lines of credit. But we're going to go over the data points, but I just wanted to show you what the user interface looks like. You basically would have to request a draw, right? So when you request a draw, they basically have two different repayments, right? So you have 24 weeks and you have 12 weeks. Now, each draw is kind of like a separate loan. That's basically how it would be treated. So just to kind of give you a scenario, let's say, for example, you wanted to borrow the entire 25,000 or 27,500 over 12 weeks, the payment due date, which will be due every Wednesday. And this includes the total amount of fees. So one way I would think about this, 12 weeks is about 3 months. So if you're going to borrow 27.5, you're basically paying back a total of 30,700, which would be about, let's just say about 3,200 or so, give or take, about $3,200 over 12 weeks, right? That's one way to look at it. Now, I wanted to go over the payment breakdown, because one thing to consider is that a lot of these fintech lines of credit, they will front load all of the fees in the beginning part of the repayment. So as y'all can see, the payment stays the same. So the total amount that you're paying every single week, but in the first 4 weeks, most of the fees are front loaded. So this is one of those things where you don't necessarily get the advantage or as much advantage of paying the loan off early to avoid all of the interest because they're front loading the fees in the first part of it. So pretty much right at the very beginning, you're going to be hit with most of the fees and paying the least amount of principal. Whereas later in the loan term, you know, let's say if you wanted to pay it off sometime, you know, halfway through the 12 weeks, well, you've already paid most of the fees and interest in the first 4 weeks or the first 4 payments. So that's just one thing to consider. So before anyone applies to this, just sort of understand that's just their business model. They front load the fees at the beginning. So the first couple of payments, it's going to be more fees than it is paying down the principal of that draw. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. But overall, I think, you know, this is more competitive than some of the other ones out there, like On Deck or even a Blue Vine. It's not going to be the cheapest, but it's not going to be the most expensive. And I actually think Fundbox is probably even less expensive than, for example, like a Headway Capital or even, what's the other one? Foundation. So this is, I'm not going to say super competitive, but it's not that bad given the data points. How to qualify, it's just $30,000 in annual revenue. So I think that breaks out to about $2,500 a month in your business checking account, and ideally 3+ months in business. So this is going to be very low barrier to entry. So if you've been in business for at least 3 months, and you're generating $30,000 in annual revenue. Now, as far as the data points to qualify and get approved for the Fundbox business line of credit, you essentially need to undergo a soft pull on your personal Experian credit score. And you want to have at least a 600 FICO score or higher. In addition to that, you also have to connect through Plaid, and they also give you the ability to connect through your accounting software like a QuickBooks. So if you do have a QuickBooks integration, you could also use that, pull that data in, but that's not required. But you would be required to connect to your bank. So there's an integration with Plaid. They analyze your banking activity. You can select which account you want to be included as part of that underwriting decision. And then essentially, once you upload your ID, verify your business information, you can get a decision really fast. With this client, they actually got approved within 48 hours. So they submitted an application And then about 2 days later, they got a decision. They were approved for $27,500. And this was their first business line of credit they got approved for as a new business. Now, another great thing about the Fundbox business line of credit is that it does report to the business credit reporting agency. So this is an opportunity for you to build business credit under your business entity. And this is the type of business credit that you want to build, right? Having financial trade lines, lines of credit, and term loans, that's really what's going to help your business credit profile qualify for even higher lines of credit later down the road. So Fundbox is an easy entry-level business line of credit that most businesses can qualify for. They can get access to funds and also build their credit at the same time. Depending on how you're looking at it, maybe if you're more seasoned, maybe you don't want this reporting on your business credit. Fundbox, I think, is a good entry-level account. Even if you already have access to other types of credit, let's say you have commercial business lines of credit, or you're a more seasoned business, this still wouldn't hurt just to have it in your back pocket. As far as the cost of capital, I think Fundbox is actually not too bad when you really compare some of the other options out there, like Foundation, On Deck, Headway Capital. I think they're competitive with those types of fintech-like business lines of credit. Now, obviously, going to the commercial banks where you're getting prime plus 2, that's going to be a lot better. But as a newer business, this is a great entry-level business line of credit. If anyone is interested in applying, I've dropped links in the description of the video. That's all for today. Until next time, take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.